of what consciousness is and how it evolves through the meditation practices. So if you read the definition in the internet, you can read as the fact of awareness by the mind of itself and the world. Consciousness emerges from the operations of the brain. So this is a simple definition that we see in the internet. But obviously, Maharishi has given a very simple way to explain how consciousness is within the absolute space. Functioning with the differential spinning velocity between particles is the first conscientious expression of the divine. This is what Maharishi says. And the more simplistic version of the definition is the functional order of the divine in everything and everywhere is consciousness. So பார்க்கும் பொருளெல்லாம் அவனாக இருப்பது அப்படின்னு தமிழ்ல சொல்றாரு. Functional order of divine and everything and everywhere is consciousness. So if you take the divine absolute qualities, we know that it has 4 important qualities: plenum, force, consciousness, and time. The beauty of this is every time when Maharishi introduced the new concept, first plenum, and he said plenum only became everything else in the world, then people start to question how. And then Maharishi thought about it and said, because it has inherent consciousness. And the reason is, even he himself evolved as a philosopher and started to give more and more important concepts to the world based on the meditation, depth of meditation he did. So his consciousness itself evolved through his meditation, deeper meditation. And so that is the beauty of Maharishi's simple explanation, because he actually evolved as a philosopher. His consciousness evolved based on the deeper meditation and kindled by many questions and quests from various aspirants. When he spoke in 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, you can see his own consciousness, how deeply evolved through meditation and how he started to introduce the various concepts. And he also explains the characteristics of divine as self-transformation, instinct, and all the virtues within it. And obviously, the consciousness can be seen in everything and everywhere. In the smallest seeds, the force and consciousness is inherent within the smallest seeds, and that has become the whole tree that we can see here. So same thing, if you take in living beings, look at the beauty and evolution from a small egg, how it became a chick, and then how it became those beautiful bird. Everything is contained within the consciousness within those each and every cell within these living beings. And so Maharishi is the one who explained to us consciousness is God. The first order of motion of how consciousness expresses in inanimate objects, we all know it is shown as pattern, precision, and regularity. In addition, in the second order, in addition to the in pattern, precision, and regularity, perceptual ability starts to show in the living beings. And that's what we call as cognition, experience, and discrimination. And this everybody has, from one sense to sixth sense. But it stops with cognition, experience, and discrimination up to 1 to 5 senses. But the human being with the sixth sense also has the ability to realize the self, thereby ability to do an inner travel and expand the minds to the vastness of the universe and realize the connectedness between our genetic center and the absolute space. So with this, let's go a little bit on how meditation helps. And first of all, how understanding our physical body is the beginning of everything. So we do have 3 layers in our human system. One is the physical body, which has millions of energy particles in the cells. The second is the astral body, which is association of life energy particles, and causal body, which is the magnetic body. So Maharishi always says the other end of the mind is God. The medium is our physical body, which is our brain, in the physical body, which is how mind operates. Similar to how blood is pumped through the heart, air is circulated with the lungs. The mind uses brain as the basis. So the medium is physical body, brain. The local fractional storage of the consciousness is the causal body. But how the causal body is created within the fractional physical body is through the source. It's the astral body, which is nothing but the life energy particle circulating in the body that is creating the fractional causal body or magnetic body. So the mind has to start. The only way to achieve self-realization or realize the consciousness, as we can imagine, Maharishi has given us two methods. The mind has to start inward travel and realize to travel the consciousness within them, or the mind has to expand and connect with the vastness of the universe. And then from there, connect everything all the way from the vastness of the universe and the absolute space and divinity to our own genetic center and realize the end-to-end connectedness between the consciousness within our genetic center as well as the consciousness within the absolute space, divinity. So Maharishi has given both meditation that helps us with both inward travel and outward travel, and able to connect. At the ultimate meditation is the divine meditation, where he helps us to connect with both. So that's the beauty of Maharishi's explanation and a simple way of helping us realize the consciousness within us. So the life energy particles with a spreading wave obviously interacts with the space and becomes the magnetism. So the causal body, which is the local fractional storage of consciousness, the center of consciousness within our own body is the causal body or the soul and at the genetic center. Magnetism is made of space plus spreading wave. So the space in all three categories of bodies are interlinked. Similarly, the space in each life energy is connected to space in the universe within each energy particle and each mass in the universe. So this is the beauty of every life energy particle has inherent force and consciousness. That is also the predominant quality of the primordial state or the divine state or absolute space. And Maharishi also teaches around types of consciousness. So it's the same thing. It's if the water is in the sea, we call it as sea water. When the water is in the tap, it's tap water, or the well or the river and the pond, everywhere. The consciousness is the same, the water is the same, but depending on where it is, then we just realize it differently, and also the quantity and quality of the consciousness also differs. So consciousness in eternal space, absolute space, we call it as total consciousness. And consciousness in the universal field is called the cosmic consciousness, because such a beauty in every single evolutionary nature of the evolutionary process of the nature. We can see how force and consciousness have acted and become everything in the universe, whether it is starting with the nebula and millions of energy particles, formative dust, and then becoming atoms, becoming paramanu, and then become atoms and become 92 elements. Then based on the combination of it, we saw Panjabhutas and all the other planets and the galaxies and stars. Everything is every little thing is through the dance of the consciousness. Literally, it is the evolution of the consciousness that has become everything. It's the universal consciousness. God is everything and everything is God. And consciousness, an energy particle, mass, life energy particle of all the living beings, as we saw, is called the fractional consciousness. So this is the way that we talk. Maharishi explains when the fraction demands, totality supplies. And so through meditation, we are trying to understand and achieve self-realization and understand the connectedness between the fractional consciousness within us with the total consciousness in the divine space, in the absolute space. So path to realize consciousness, obviously, Maharishi in the simplified Kundalini yoga system has given two important aspects. Apart from obviously the simplified physical exercise and Kaya Kalpa practices for keeping the physical body and medium really healthy so that we can live long life to achieve the path to go through the path to realize consciousness completely. um, Apart from that, the two important aspects is meditation and introspection. Those two combined together, when we practice meditation and introspection combined together throughout our lifetime, we are able to get to the level of perfection that Maharishi has achieved and many other saints before him has achieved, and truly achieve sublimation, which helps us much closer to the God or consciousness, realizing the consciousness within us and takes really closer towards the total consciousness. So this is the path that Maharishi has given us for realizing the consciousness. And so let's go a little bit deep on the meditation practices itself. The practice that initially in the Maharishi, in a simple way, helps us to shift the life energy from the genetic center, Mooladhara chakra, to the pituitary, Agna chakra, and pineal, Duriyam. That's the very initial stage of helping us, first of all, mind starting the inward travel. Because so far, mind has been used for data processing through enjoying the pleasure through five senses. But now we are with the initiation, we are starting the inward travel. And the first stage is the pituitary meditation, and then the third stage is the pineal meditation. And with that, obviously, the meditation, it improves mental acuity, memory, power, and awareness. That's the immediate benefit people can start to see. But the depth of, so this is at a foundational, at least the bare minimum benefit are these. Immediately, it improves mental acuity, memory power, and awareness. How does then we take the part, it takes us to achieving the self-realization or understanding the consciousness. And this is where the beauty of how Maharishi has given us, or anybody before, there are certain things that Maharishi has given more specifically, but meditation is not a new concept. And as Maharishi says, he used a lot of learning from various ancestors to give us, various saints and philosophers prior to him, to give us these techniques. So meditation is not new. Kundalini meditation is not new. However, meditation, the methodical way to practice Kundalini meditation itself helps with ease to realize our consciousness, the way that Maharishi has given us. Starting with the meditation posture, look at the contained way that we are asked to sit, where we are not allowing the mind to wander, we are not allowing the physical body or limbs and other systems to wander. We are in a calm and composed posture to help us enable that to sit in 20 minutes. Maharishi has given us a great set of simplified synchronous physical exercises. And especially there are inherent within the physical exercises, even things like ear massages, ankle massage, all of those actually helps with brain improvement as well as Kundalini Kundalini, awakening of the Kundalini energy when we do the ankle massage, etc. So those are the really subtle ways Maharishi has already introduces um, Kundalini awakening techniques through the simplified physical exercises. And after that, if you look at the meditation posture itself, it helps the way that we are able to contain our senses, five senses, bring the calmness within us and around us with the posture itself by having a clear set of aura and circulation around us. Then we start with the breathing clearance, clearing of the Nadi Shuddhi, which is clearing the left meridian, central, left meridian, right meridian, and also central meridian. And it truly helps us with bringing the energy with those breathing technique, helps enable and focus on the Agna chakra and pituitary gland much better. So that's the breathing clearance. Then the spinal cord clearance, where the energy flow from Mooladharam to Agna easily able to flow continuously without any obstruction in the spinal cord in any of the centers. So that is enabled by spinal cord clearance. Then we are also invoking the divine energy and consciousness around us. So when we say the environment surrounding as atmosphere surrounding us is purified by the divine power. What is divine power? Because divine power, we just saw the qualities. One of the qualities is total consciousness. So we are already invoking the divine energy and consciousness around us. And we know that our internally, the fractional consciousness within us is already connected with the total consciousness. So when you bring and make sankalpam and invoke it to have the divine consciousness around you, it truly helps us focus on the meditation much, much deeply. And similarly, not only that, we are descending the divine energy, which is with the total consciousness quality within us, and get the body and mind be purified and blessed. So that's another important practice we do before the meditation. And as you know, the divine protection. So the consciousness is one of the quality, and the divine protection truly helps us even within the 15-20 minutes without any outwardly disturbance. The applying the divine protection not only helps at that 20 minutes, but also after that. So these enables us to do the meditation much, much better, and helps us with the meditation, achieving the realization, success of the meditation in each and every session. We know this journey of mind during meditation. So it obviously a wave of consciousness, which is the function of the mind, operates in three stages. In beta, 14 to 40 cycles per second. In alpha, which is in the pituitary gland, 8 to 13 cycles per second, which is the soul's consciousness. And the universal consciousness or energy is achieved in the theta wave, which is 4 to 7 cycles per second. Then God consciousness, which is absolute space and divine with the absolute divine, the mind has the ability to achieve the mental frequency of 1 to 3 cycles per second. And obviously, then we are able to understand our life energy, because it has life energy with imprints, with this in the genetic center. The mind is able to connect along with the God consciousness, and the life imprint is in the center of the genetic center, and we are able to understand the connectedness between the consciousness within us and the genetic center along and its connectivity towards the divinity. So again, it's the same concept of mind, how of a journey of mind happens in meditation. And this is the journey of consciousness in the 9 meditation techniques that Maharishi has taught. We know pituitary gland. This is where in Agna, instead of wandering the mind externally, this is the inward travel. This is where the inward travel starts with for starting our journey. Then Shanti meditation. Many of you might have heard and known and experienced the consciousness within the genetic center can be felt, the same accomplishment of Duryadidam and becoming one with the divinity and total consciousness can be also achieved by doing the Shanti meditation in the genetic center. Then obviously the entrance to divinity, Brahmarandra meditation, with the Duriya meditation helps us with the uh, entrance to divinity. We start to expand all the brain cells and start our outward journey of connecting with the total consciousness in the universal field. And we know the rest of the meditation, Panchendriya meditation, fives, controlling them and moderately using the five senses. Panchabhuta meditation, connecting ourselves with the five elements. Turyadita meditation, connecting ourselves with the universal being. And nine center meditation, which is once again connecting all our endocrine glands, cleansing all our endocrine glands and connecting it with the divinity. Then Nityananda meditation, which is complete blissful meditation where we are infusing the divinity within us by raising the divinity, fractional consciousness within us using the breathing technique and completely infusing our whole body with the consciousness and be able to be in a blissful state. And ultimately, the Brahmajnana meditation, the journey of consciousness, this is where we become one with the consciousness, one with the divinity, and trying to connect it from there all the way to the genetic center. And the Maharishi uses the words அணுக்களுக்கு இடையேயும் அணுக்களுக்கு மத்தியிலேயும் இருப்பது இறைநிலை. And same thing he says, அங்கே அறிவாக இருப்பதுதான் இங்கே இறைநிலையாக இருப்பது. These are the words he uses. The same thing that is in your body as consciousness, as mind or consciousness, is the same thing that it is that you see in the divine space. He explains these words in the absolute space meditation. So each and every meditation helps us with achieving some part of understanding of the consciousness and makes our journey of consciousness quite blissful. And we all know that meditation helps with mental peace, not to harm anyone with the twofold moral principle, expansion of the mind, and also realization of all stages of consciousness, which is the quality of having ready insight into things like perspicacity, receptivity from total consciousness, capacity to be modified ourselves for a better purpose, and being magnanimous, karunai, being magnanimous and bring the generosity within us, and really becoming creative in our mind to solve not only problems for us, but also solve problems for the intuitively solve problem for the humanity. And this is the type of quality is what Maharishi got, which helped with his own intuition to God give us various solutions for the humanity to achieve individual peace and the world peace. The higher manifestation of consciousness can also be truly achieved through the meditation with a friendly relationship with everybody, contentment, happiness, state of happiness and peace, spiritual wisdom, and ultimately peace within us, peace surrounding us, and peace in the whole world. Now, meditation alone, we all know, because some of us have been practicing for several years, and it's going to take a lot more years for achieving the same level as Maharishi. And we have to do introspection practices to truly maintain and retain whatever we have learned through the journey of consciousness through meditation. And maneuvering the sixth temperament through analysis of thoughts, moralization of desires, neutralization of anger, eradication of worries, understanding who am I, all of it helps achieve the perfection needed as well as to achieve the sublimation. When we achieve the sublimation, that is where we are getting much closer to the godliness or much closer to the total consciousness or the absolute divine. So I hope I was able to at least glimpse through quickly how various meditation is really helping us, evolve our own consciousness through the meditation practices that Maharishi has given us as a boon. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the opportunity to share the few thoughts. This is again more for reminding myself, and also sharing with the fellow aspirants. So, if you have any thoughts or feedback to share, please do share. Thank you. We can stop the recording, Srihari.